Dogs are often described as man's best friend, and for good reason. They are loyal, affectionate, playful, and forgiving creatures that brighten up our lives every single day. But while dogs are incredibly forgiving, there are some things they simply can't forget or truly forgive, even if their love for you never fades. These are the actions, habits, and mistakes that can damage their trust, hurt their emotions, and even scar them for life. And what makes this even more tragic is that most of the time, humans don't even realize they're doing something wrong. Today, we'll dive into 10 things your dog will never forgive, no matter how many treats you offer afterward. These aren't just quirks or preferences. These are deep-seated wounds that go against a dog's very instincts in their bond with you. Let's start with one of the biggest ones: breaking their trust. Dogs are creatures of routine and predictability. They thrive when they feel safe and secure. And when you break that trust, it hits them harder than we can imagine. For example, if you punish your dog unpredictably, one day letting them on the couch and the next day yelling at them for the same behavior, they don't just get confused. They begin to question whether they can trust you at all. If you lure them into the car for what they think is a fun trip to the park, but instead take them to the vet for an unpleasant procedure, they'll remember that betrayal. Dogs don't think like humans. They don't rationalize that you are acting in their best interest. All they remember is that you tricked them. That memory sits deep, and the next time you call them or open the car door, they may hesitate. For a dog, broken trust is one of the hardest things to repair, and even though they may still come running to you with wagging tails, deep inside, that betrayal never fully leaves. Another action dogs struggle to forgive is neglect. This doesn't always mean intentional cruelty. It can be as simple as not giving them enough attention, stimulation, or exercise. Dogs are social creatures, evolved to be part of a pack. When you ignore them, leave them alone for long stretches of time, or fail to engage their minds and bodies, they feel abandoned. A dog's entire world revolves around you. They wait all day just for the sound of your footsteps, the jingling of your keys, the moment you walk through the door. Imagine their confusion when, instead of greeting them with warmth, you brush past them to scroll through your phone. Over time, neglect chips away at their bond. Sure, they'll still love you, but that deep need for connection will remain unsatisfied. Some dogs internalize this sadness, becoming withdrawn and depressed. Others act out destructively, chewing shoes or scratching furniture just to get a shred of your attention. To them, neglect feels like the ultimate betrayal because love and companionship are all they know. Physical punishment is another wound a dog never truly forgives. Hitting, kicking, or even yelling excessively at your dog leaves scars, both physical and emotional. Unlike humans, dogs don't understand punishment in the same way. They don't make the connection between a behavior and the pain you inflict afterward. What they learn instead is that you, the person they trust most, are unpredictable and frightening. That trust once broken is nearly impossible to rebuild. They may flinch every time you raise your hand, even if all you're doing is reaching for the TV remote. They may cower at sudden movements or avoid eye contact, and the bond you once shared becomes laced with fear. Even if the dog still loves you, deep down, the memory of being hurt never goes away. Many rescue dogs from abusive backgrounds carry these traumas for years. And while rehabilitation and love can heal some of the damage, the scars always remain. One of the most heartbreaking things for dogs is abandonment. Imagine the confusion of being dropped off at a shelter or tied to a fence and left behind. Dogs don't understand explanations like, "We couldn't afford to keep him," or "We had to move." All they know is that the person they trusted most has disappeared. Studies show that dogs experience separation distress, a form of anxiety similar to what children feel when abandoned by a parent. For them, abandonment is not just sad, it's devastating. Some dogs wait at the door for days, others cry through the night, and many stop eating altogether. And if they're left in a shelter, surrounded by unfamiliar smells and sounds, their heartbreak deepens. Even if they find a new home later, the memory of being left behind never fades. Dogs forgive easily, but abandonment is one wound they can never fully heal from. Let's not forget inconsistent boundaries. Dogs need structure, just like children do. When rules constantly change, it confuses and frustrates them. If one day you let them jump on the bed and the next you scold them for the same action, they don't learn what's right or wrong. They only learn that you're unpredictable. This damages their sense of security, and dogs rely heavily on that predictability to feel safe. A dog who never knows what to expect from their owner lives in a constant state of anxiety. They might still wag their tail and show affection, but deep inside they're unsettled, unable to relax fully. They may hesitate before doing anything, unsure if today it will earn them a treat or a punishment. Dogs forgive a lot, but being subjected to confusing, inconsistent rules is something they never truly let go of. Another unforgivable wound is when you ignore their health needs. Dogs rely on their humans to notice when something's wrong. Unlike people, they can't tell you when they're in pain or when something doesn't feel right. If you overlook their symptoms, skip vet visits, or fail to provide proper care, they suffer in silence. A limp, constant scratching, unusual lethargy, these are cries for help. And when those cries go unanswered, the dog doesn't understand why the person they love most isn't helping them. Over time, untreated health issues turn into chronic pain, and while they may still love you, the feeling of being unheard and uncared for never disappears. Dogs never forgive being forced to live in discomfort because their human didn't take the time to pay attention. There's also the matter of social isolation. Dogs are pack animals and interaction is their lifeblood. Denying them the chance to socialize with other dogs, people, or even the outside world can leave lasting scars. Imagine being confined to a single room for years with little stimulation or variety. It would crush your spirit. That's exactly how many dogs feel when they're kept indoors all the time. Denied walks or left chained in a yard. Dogs crave exploration, scents, sounds, and new experiences. Depriving them of that doesn't just bore them, it damages their emotional health. While they may still greet you with love, the lack of enrichment is something their hearts never forget. Betrayal through rehoming is another action dogs don't forgive easily. While sometimes it's unavoidable, for the dog it feels like the ultimate act of rejection. Dogs don't understand why they're suddenly living with strangers, why the person they loved is gone, or why everything familiar has been stripped away. This can cause deep attachment issues that persist for the rest of their lives. Even if they bond with their new family, a part of them always remembers the abandonment. And let's not overlook constant shouting and emotional volatility. Dogs are extremely sensitive to tone and energy. A home filled with shouting, anger, and chaos creates an environment of fear. Even if you never physically harm your dog, your voice alone can make them cower, shake, or avoid eye contact. Dogs remember that emotional storm, and even if they forgive you in the moment, their bodies hold on to the fear. Finally, one of the deepest betrayals is when you give up on them in old age. Many dogs who gave their humans years of love and loyalty are abandoned or neglected once they grow old and sick. They're cast aside because they can no longer fetch balls or climb stairs. And that betrayal is perhaps the saddest of all. Dogs give us their best years, and when they need us most, being left behind is something they can never forgive. What's remarkable, though, is that despite all of this, dogs still love unconditionally. Their loyalty endures even through pain, betrayal, and neglect. They may never truly forgive these actions, but they don't stop loving. That's the paradox of a dog's heart. Their capacity for love far outweighs the pain they endure. But as they're humans, it's our responsibility to honor that love, to protect their trust, and to never make them feel betrayed in the first place. Because while dogs may never forget these 10 unforgivable actions, they will always hope we choose love instead. Dogs teach us more about loyalty, patience, and forgiveness than most people realize. But when we take that bond for granted, the consequences are more profound than we imagine. Dogs live in the present moment, yes, but they also carry memories. Memories tied not to dates and times, but to feelings and experiences. A moment of cruelty, a broken promise, or an act of neglect may last just seconds for us. But for them, the emotion lingers forever. And when those moments repeat often enough, the scars left behind are not just emotional, but physical, shaping the way a dog views humans for the rest of its life. Think about the way a dog greets you at the door. Their tail wags, their body wiggles, their eyes shine as if you are the best thing in their world. To them, you are. That greeting never stops being genuine. But imagine that after that enthusiastic welcome, you push them aside, raise your voice, or fail to even acknowledge them. For us, it may feel small, just one busy day, one distracted moment. For the dog, it becomes a memory of rejection, something they don't know how to process. Over time, those moments pile up. They don't forget, they don't get over it, they simply absorb it into their being. They will still greet you, still wag their tail, but behind those eyes is the shadow of hurt. That's why consistency, love, and patience matter more than we think. Another layer to this unforgivable pain lies in dogs' incredible sensitivity to human emotion. Studies have shown that dogs can detect changes in our facial expressions, tone of voice, and even body language more accurately than almost any other species. They can smell chemical shifts in our bodies when we're stressed or sad. This deep sensitivity makes them wonderful companions, but it also makes them vulnerable. When they live in a home filled with tension, anger, or indifference, they internalize that energy. A raised voice may not always be directed at them, but they will feel it as if it were. When their home, their safe space, becomes unpredictable, the hurt cuts deep. Unlike humans, dogs can't rationalize that dad just had a bad day at work, or mom was upset about something else. To them, you are their entire world, so your storm becomes their storm. That confusion and fear don't simply vanish with time. We should also consider the silent damage done when people try to replace love with material things. Many dog owners assume that treats, toys, or fancy beds make up for absence or neglect. But dogs don't measure love in objects. They measure it in presence. They crave your attention, your time, your affection. A dog left alone all day may have a basket full of toys, but without your companionship, they feel lonely and abandoned. For them, quality time isn't a luxury, it's their lifeblood. And when it's missing, they feel betrayed in a way they never truly recover from. You can give them every gift money can buy, but they'll never forgive the feeling of being emotionally invisible. And then there's the cruelty of impatience. Dogs learn at their own pace. Some pick up commands quickly, others take longer. Some struggle with house training, others with walking on a leash. When humans lose patience, shout, or punish them for not learning fast enough, dogs don't